Hey everybody, Seth Campbell here at long last with the new Segue Says podcast. I am so sorry for the delay. As of now, it's Thursday. This should have been up last Sunday. I've been having a number of technical difficulties mixed in with some crazy travel. So this is as soon as I could possibly get it to you. Again, I'm very sorry. This is a good one though. We've got a comparatively modern obscurity mixed with an all-time classic and another all-time classic thrown in just for fun. The song this is all centered around is the somewhat modern obscurity from the early 90s. It's a Bruce Hornsby song called The Changes off of his Hot House album. And the all-time classic, the first all-time classic, is Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles. And then just for fun, we're going to throw in 16 Tons by Merle Travis just as an optional add-on that you can try. Now, The Changes, it's kind of a lesser-known song. It wasn't a hit single by any means, and Hornsby, to my knowledge, hasn't played it live since maybe 2000, 2001. That was the last time. But it's a really cool song, and I'm going to attempt to do it justice because I am by no means the piano player Bruce Hornsby is. But it goes a little something like this. It's a song about having a corporate music gig and having to play the top 40 and the songs that the employer thinks people want to hear instead of the stuff you want to play. Of course, in Hornsby's case, that was lots of crazy jazz, which people probably didn't want to hear anyway. But that to the side, you could say I know a thing or two about something like this.
Everybody's in place, 2 chairs filled for every 5 gone to waste. The pantsuit girl gives me a nasty gaze and play it on your own time. I walk to the bandstand blowing my horn. Nobody knows what we're really here for. We'll take it out hard till the show is the door. It's us against them tonight. We play the changes. We play the changes. It's us against them tonight.
So as you can hear, it's got this very definitive bass line. It's A, G, F, G. So it's basically the 1 minor, the flat 7 major, the 6 major, or the flat 6 major, the flat 7 major, and then back to the 1 minor. And that is pretty much the loop of the verses. The verses then end on this nice 4 major. And then the chorus is a little different, but it's utilizing mostly the same chords. So that is the Hornsby tune, which, if I remember the stories he's told in interviews and at concerts, it's because he wanted to play John Coltrane and Thelonious Monk when people wanted to hear "She's a Brick House" and what was the other one? "That's the way, I like it." Those are the only 2 songs people wanted to hear over and over again, and of course he and his band didn't want to play that. So a number of the songs on the Hot House album reflect that kind of frustration. "Spider Fingers" is another one. Again, not that I'm competent enough to play Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane, but I know a thing or two about having to play the stuff other people want to hear instead of the stuff you want to hear. Anyway, Ray Charles. Now, I believe this is the first time we've managed to get a Ray Charles song into a Segue podcast. And Ray Charles is a hero of mine and has been since I was a little kid. I don't consider myself ready yet with a number of his songs. The versions I play feel too watered down and simplified. Because just Ray Charles, he earned the nickname Genius for good reason. I earned the nickname Segue. So, between the 2 of us, I think he's got, a little more piano playing prowess to him. But this is one song that I do think I am able to play. And there are a few I play for fun, but, I want to get him up to to a level that's befitting of the genius of Ray Charles. But Hit the Road Jack is a fairly simple one because it's more about the groove in the horn section than it is about piano. Now, it's originally in A flat minor, but we're going to bring it up to A minor for the sake of this segue. Now, it is intended to be a duet, and occasionally with even more voices chiming in. Much like other songs we've seen, like Young Folks and such, we've seen on the Segue podcast, I have yet to find somebody to sing it with me. So I'm going to have to do my best to cover both parts, and it makes a lot less sense in this song than it does in Young Folks. But just go with me. You know this song. You know who has what part.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. Oh woman, don't you treat me so mean. You're the meanest old one I've ever seen. See if you say so. I have to pack my things and go. That's right, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
Now, as you can hear, the bass line is very similar, except instead of going A, G, F, G, it's A, G, F, E. And the right hand is essentially staying on an A minor 7. I mean, you could go A minor, G, F, E minor 7 if you wanted to, but it's more about the bass line than the chords. Now, that being said, for the purposes of this segue, I want to change up the bass line just a little bit, and I guess you could call this sacrilegious, but this is more of a vocal segue, because the only thing we really have to change is to change songs and get the point completely across, because Hit the Road Jack is so iconic, is the vocals. So the changes ends with this last chorus. It's an instrumental chorus. Comes after a verse. This is the last verse and then chorus progression, even though the chorus isn't sung.
My old friend Dave with the silver spoon says, why don't you play those good old tunes? If you give it up now, you can fill the room. I said, there's nothing like a good train tune. Changes, these things called changes. Where do we go from here?
And then there's a little instrumental bit, which I don't have down exactly yet, unfortunately. I'm working on it. And then there's a jam section over the verse progression, and it goes around several times as each instrument takes a solo. And there's a few bars of this D major. So what do you think we're going to do? Just going to keep playing this progression once we're done soloing.
Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more.
Then you keep going with the verses, the choruses, jam, whatever you want to do. It's incredibly easy to just keep this sort of this pulsing progression from the changes, and if you wanted, you could just switch the last G to an E minor and just do this.
Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more,
totally up to you. Personally, I like to keep it as the changes progression because it makes it, you know, a little smoother. There's less difference, and it makes it a little more seamless, and it feels more like a tease than an actual segue. Now, of course, there's also a song. I just came up with this one last weekend while improvising over the changes, incidentally. But I've always, for a long time now, I've done "Hit the Road Jack" mixed with a cameo, because I don't know all the words, of 16 Tons by Merle Travis, which of course is a classic song that's been now recorded by everybody from Johnny Cash to Stevie Wonder. I mean, everyone's done this song at some point or another. Of course, it's the same sort of walk-down progression with a little bit of a variation at the end. Now, just so you recognize, I'm going to sing it low first. Woke up one morning and the sun didn't shine. Picked up a shovel and got right in line. There was 16 tons of number 9 coal. The one straw bossman said, bless my soul, you lift 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Now you got, you know, going to the minor 4 and then the 1-5 dominant 1 at the end there. But as you can hear, the melody is pretty similar to the changes, actually. Walk to the bandstand, blowing my horn. Nobody knows what we're really here for. Taking our heart till the show's the door. It's us against them tonight. Play the changes. So the melody is pretty similar, so that gives us plenty to work with already. Now, since, as I said, I don't know all the lyrics to this one, I tend to do it as a tease instead of a full segue, which means I'll just sing a little bit of 16 Tons over the progression of Hit the Road Jack, or in this case, of the changes. And that gives a cool little option, because if you want to keep doing the changes progression, you could do, as opposed to the jam cycle, an actual verse, which means you have this 3 times, and then you go to this 4 major. And if you sing the 16 Tons melody over that, as a, you know, St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Puts a little bit of a different flavor on it, and it sounds more like the changes. So it goes something like this. You know, you just finished Hit the Road Jack. You're still jamming over this. Lift 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. Woke up one morning, the sun didn't shine. Picked up a shovel and got right in line. There's 16 tons of number 9 coal. The boss man said, well, bless my soul, play the changes. Play the changes, play the changes. Boss man said, well, bless my soul. And, you know, obviously I'm getting goofy here because I'm completely scrambling the 2 stories by this point. But at that point, you're having fun with the audience. It's kind of a joke now because you've already done Hit the Road Jack. And, you know, so you've given them the one they know really well. And then at this point, you're going for style points. So if you tweak the melody just a little bit to match the changes, play the changes progression, then you can just keep going with that, and you repeat the last line at the end of the chorus, the last line of whatever verse of 16 Tons you sang, and what do you know? And of course, the changes being a Bruce Hornsby song, it has to have something really out there, and that is how it ends. After the last jam, it just does this. So we're on this E Lydian thing that comes out of nowhere. And so you just tack that on at the end of 16 Tons slash 16 Tons mixed with the changes slash whatever you want to do. And there you go. You got a fun little medley. And Bruce Hornsby does this kind of thing all the time. He's been known to do disco medleys in the middle of Spider Fingers or Jacob's Ladder. And I have never heard him do this with the changes with either 16 Tons or Hit the Road Jack, but given how well versed in music he is, all the great songs he knows and the history he's familiar with, I would be stunned if this hasn't at least crossed his mind at some point. I promise you I came up with this independently, but it's plainly there to see for those who know the song, so I'm sure Bruce has thought of this, and given how spontaneous his shows are, he's probably tried this. Probably made it sound a heck of a lot better than I do, but that's just because he's Bruce Hornsby. So, in any event, there at long last is this week's Segue podcast. I say this week, it was technically supposed to be last week. Now, as a bit of a caveat, I've got a little more crazy travel this weekend, and I'm going to try to film this week's on Sunday, but I don't know if I'll be able to. So this week's might be next Monday or Tuesday, but at least that'll get us closer to the regular spacing, and we'll be, with any luck, back on a regular schedule before too long. So thanks for putting up with me. Hopefully you've enjoyed this as always. Hopefully you've got some ideas of your own of how to use these. Thanks as always. I will see you next week.